One of the sessions here at the European Roundtable was the storage of energy and bringing it to market. And here at my table I have Rob Krijten from TKI Energy, Top Sector Energy. Could you explain to the people what it is that you do?
Yeah, thank you. Rob Krijten, responsible for the innovation program for the Dutch process industries under the climate agreement. So we basically facilitate cooperation and innovation programs for the government.
And the Dutch government, is it very far forward with helping companies, with helping the market?
Well, I think in the Netherlands we have quite a strong innovation policy and reasonable budgets as well. So we're moving fast. We're developing rapidly. I think in the scale up and rollout we have still quite a step to make. But we're up to speed. We're getting there.
And if we're looking at Europe as a whole, because of course it's the Europe Roundtable, are there some points of improvement or?
Well, I think especially the northwestern Europe countries, Germany, the Netherlands, and the others around the North Sea have a similar challenge. We have a large offshore wind potential. We have large industry clusters, and I think we face the same challenges. We have a large installed base of industry that needs to transfer to renewable power, that needs to get rid of its CO2 emissions. It's not easy. We have 30 years to go, which is enough. But I think we'll get there. We'll get there in time. But we have to move fast.
It's a challenge, and you have the same challenges as other countries in the European society. So then the word cooperation comes to mind, of course. Is there a lot of cooperation between governments, companies, startups?
Yeah, the heart of the Top Sector Energy is public-private partnership. That's what we do, and I think specifically in the Netherlands we're quite strong in that. We have a trust-based network of knowledge institutes, of companies and the government. We're in good dialogue with each other, openly discussing the challenges. And well, the topic of today, industrial electrification, is typically an area where commercial interests and policy really touch, where they really get close together because of all the regulations around the energy market.
Yeah, because I heard the word regulation a lot. Is that the main issue you think about the session today? If you look back at the session, what is it that you take with you that you say that's something that really needs attention?
Well, specifically for energy storage, I think the regulatory framework is key. A couple of barriers are currently in place that basically go back to the old energy system that used to be viable in the old world, but now we're moving to the new world where flexibility is key. We face congestion issues in the networks. And the fragmentation,
I think, of getting energy.
And the roles are changing as well. The strict boundaries between the electricity sector and the electricity production and use are shifting. With that world coming along, new policies are barely needed. Yeah.
Is there one more thing that you would like the viewers to take with them from this session or from this interview?
I think things? One of the key things that was discussed today was that we need a vast amount of flexible assets in the energy system of the future. Key question is, where should that flexibility be placed? Is that at the generators? Is that somewhere in the middle as independent storage providers, or is that at the end user, for instance, or a mix of both? And I think nobody has the real answer today, but we need some sort of directions very soon.
We'll keep looking for that. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, for being here to elaborate on everything. Rob Krijten from the Top Sector Energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about energy and the storage of energy and its legislation, which seems to be a problem for a lot of sectors, but especially the energy storage is something that keeps asking for new regulations and new rules. Another thing to emphasize about the storage, we'll talk about it with Zubin Nayak, who's sitting here. Zubin, welcome. Great that you're here. Could you please introduce yourself and your company to the viewers?
Yeah, I'm Zubin Nayak. I'm part of Code 21. So we are a design bureau focused on climate solutions and sustainability. I was today a part of the electric vehicles group. As a part of how can electric vehicles become a solution or contribute to the energy transition.
Okay, and if you look at the discussion about legislation, is it something that's also in your field important or not that much?
I mean, if I look at it from a design perspective, I see that and this is something that came up I think twice today, that it is so confusing, and especially if you look at consumers. They have, I mean, nobody understands what we are talking about. So it needs to become, at least in two of the cases, we see that first in the grid management case, where it was said that okay, we should make a sort of design session, where co-creation session, where all the participants, because there are so many stakeholders in the grid management case, that all of them need to come together, and all of them have different interests and different ways of working. How do they all come in together and start working towards finding a solution that is acceptable for all?
Do you think that the government should take a leading role in that to bring them all together, all the stakeholders, or should it be something from within the market?
Yeah, I think the government should also be involved. There are, so for example, if you look at Airbnb, which totally changed the market, they didn't need the government to come in. So it might happen in that way, but I think government is a big player, and as we have seen in the like in the Urgenda climate case, that the government is also responsible for getting the society there. So of course the government has to become a part of the solution.
Yeah, so you're talking about now about a big disruptor actually of the sector. Do you foresee something like that indeed in the energy sector? Are you waiting for that, hoping for that?
Yes, and especially also in our case of electric vehicles, there is definitely space there for because if you look at electric vehicles, there will be millions of cars in Europe. They will all have batteries. That battery can be a sort of flexibility service to the grid, but currently there is no way that the market is fractured. There are different laws in different parts of the country, and also I mean it's something that somebody will have to invest in the market. So if you look at it from a consumer perspective, why should I give my car to the grid, or make my car battery available to the grid? What is it? What's there for me? Am I going to save costs on energy? Am I going to be paid when I contribute energy to the grid? How am I going to be paid? How does it also, car owners have range anxiety that
so actually it's looking for kind of like new business models, new models of getting it done.
Yes, and design and trying to make these climate solutions attractive for consumers, for people, is one big part of the solution.
Because it's also, I think, a bit of a social thing or something, like a chicken and egg situation where you want people to switch to a new business model, new technology. But then first the technology has to be there, but to invest in a technology that nobody's using is
and
difficult.
People are interested in sustainability or becoming more sustainable, but unless it is understandable, unless it is like trusted that my car isn't going to burn up because I connected to the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at this session today about energy and energy storage, what was the thing that stood out the most for you?
So from my background, I'm an engineer. I have worked in the energy field, especially in infrastructure financing. But these regulations, these are too complex for anybody.
Okay, so again, the regulations.
Yes, regulations are too difficult to understand. And how do we get, especially, of course, only in the case of electric vehicle case, did we have consumers being part of part of the case. Otherwise, the other cases were very big, not for individual consumers, but how do we? And the market is changing. They have to the consumer also has to, individual consumer also has to change to that, but all these terms and regulations, they don't invite participation.
So if I would sum it up, your call to action would be working together, getting all the stakeholders together, maybe through a value track or whatever, but that could be something, but bring everybody together and doing something about the regulation.
Yes.
That's the call to action.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here and for your time.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. That was Zubin Nayak talking about the storage of energy. And we just had a session here, and the session can be watched on the website of Ideas from Europe.